Hello and welcome to the PowderBurn podcast brought to you by Delta Team Tactical. I'm Jordan McCormick. With me is my co-host Patrick Barton.
Hi.
And we are excited to have our guest Paul Noonan from Foxtrot Mike. Is it Foxtrot Mike or Foxtrot Mike Products? What's the official?
It is Foxtrot Mike Products. I'm going to mute my phone. I apologize for that. It is
It's all
Foxtrot
good.
Mike Products. We used to go by FM Products. It's another story.
Well, that's actually on the list, so
Okay.
we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited to have Paul with us today. We do some housekeeping items. We have a collaborative giveaway going on with Foxtrot Mike and Swamp Fox Optics right now. We'll link down below so you can enter to win that giveaway. What's part of that giveaway is a coveted ranch rifle from Foxtrot Mike. This thing is awesome. California compliant, I believe.
Yes.
And gorgeous wood furniture on it. It's kind of like the blend of both old and new. We also have a 1911 that we're providing with it, as well as the Swamp Fox Tomahawk. It's sitting right over here. So you could enter to win.
Oh, yeah.
This and that. So click the link down below. You have to the end of the month of February to win this. And thank you for joining forces with us on this.
Hey,
We're
man.
so stoked. And
What a great partner you guys have been. You should be really proud of the content you created. It's impressive. It's beautiful. And it really shows it well. We're really proud to be working with you guys.
We work hard.
yeah, and these are super fun to do. It's good for everybody on there. So thank you for joining with us, partnering with us on this one. So
Yeah.
Hey, my
Especially
pleasure.
the very first podcast.
yeah, and this is our first podcast. So thanks for being guinea pig here.
Hey, man, happy to do it. I'm glad to be working with you guys.
So we'd like to get to know you a little bit. Tell us about where you're from, where you grew up, and things like that.
Lived all over the U.S. Originally, I was from the Bay Area. I used to have a motorcycle shop, and one of the last things I had to learn was machining, and took some basic manual machining classes, did an apprenticeship, started to study CNC, had a really good mentor, went out into the world and started making parts for myself, and got some recognition there, met some other right people, I was a machinist who became an engineer over time, and that really helped me to be a better engineer because I knew how to make things. I'm really more of a machinist. I just think I like simple things. Mechanical things kind of speak to me. I find them interesting. When you look at a motorcycle, they're way more complex than a gun. A gun just didn't seem that complex to me compared to a motorcycle that had many systems. Mechanical things I enjoyed them. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So I just started making parts and doing design for other people. And then that kind of took off to the point where I was traveling internationally for 7 years, and I would be gone like 20 days a month.
Jeez.
It was fun. It was a very exciting time. And I went to work for Wilson Combat for a few years.
Nice.
And then started FM Products about 8.5 years ago.
Wow.
It was all PCCs. As you guys probably know, we were the PCC guys for many years until maybe 2.5 years ago when the brace brand. I mean, we've rebounded in that category as well, but we had to pivot for reasons you guys understand. When our lane was long and narrow, we did PCCs, and when the bottom fell out on that, we had to go back to what we were good at, which we did a lot of white label work for other people, and that really helped a ton. So we developed the bufferless upper, I don't know, more than 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, maybe. It's been on the market, tens of thousands of them on the market. Very successful for us. But the market has changed, right? You know what I mean? It's not the same market. It ain't 2019 anymore. It ain't 2020 anymore.
No, it's definitely not 2020 anymore. If it was, I probably would have retired by now. But.
Yeah, right. So we try to think ahead, and we try to think what would consumers in states that can't have access to ARs, what would they want? What would have legs with the market and wouldn't be confined to a tactical market, a strictly tactical market? Because I think hunters would benefit from a light, modern firearm that's accurate and has potential for a magazine capability, compatibilities with ARs and those types of things. I think that it had some legs in hunting and outdoorsmen. I always think about backpackers and outdoorsmen and stuff like that. And I just thought that this platform would have a lot of legs, and we've done well with it. It's been successful for us. And it's not what I try to remind people is it's not an AR, right? And we do ARs, we do AKs, we can do that. Let's not make this an AR. It's not. And listen, all I know is if you went to Clash Bash or, the Gundies or Red October for the last 2 or 3 years, when we had those ranch rifles out there, it was everyone's favorite gun to shoot. And it's a different shooting experience. It's more linear. It has a flatter recoil impulse, in my opinion, than an AR. And it's softer shooting, especially when you add like a wood stock to it, which has those natural capabilities of kind of absorbing the recoil, right? So when you put that wood stock on there, it takes it to the next level. I think there's something that you're maybe hanging more weight off the rear of it with like an SGA stock or a wood stock than you do with an AR, and that may play dividends in how the shooting performance or characteristics that may play into it, but I can't be sure. That's just my opinion.
I totally think it does. I mean, I've skateboarded for 30 years. This year, just realized that it's I've skateboarded for 30 years, and skateboarding innovation in the boards hasn't changed because nothing beats wood.
Yeah,
like the way that the dampness of the properties, and I'm a hobbyist woodworker, and just the properties that come naturally through wood, the damp, the vibration dampening and stuff like that. Like I'm not a physicist. I can't explain the physics of it, but like as a skateboarder, I have felt that, like exactly what you're talking about, translating that to firearms. And and when you're shooting two guns back to back, like a Remington 700 or a Remington 870 with synthetic furniture versus wood furniture, like you also feel the difference. So
you do.
I've experienced that both on the firearm side as well as a skateboarder and now mostly a snowboarder that have wood cores. And I'm riding a board right now that has different type of wood core, and it's throwing me off my game. Just the properties within the different types of wood.
Yeah. I was going to mention 7.62s, and the classic feel of that wood stock really makes a difference, even with that 7.62 round.
I agree.
I'm glad you brought it in that 223 Wild.
Yeah, and then shout out to Wooks, because they did a great job on that stock.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
Yeah, they nailed it. It's very aesthetic. Good aesthetic.
Well, I want to give a plug to your PCCs. We just recently picked up carrying some of your PCC lowers, and they're my favorite on the market. Like, I've played with a handful. I'm not talking down about anybody's stuff, but especially in there's a lot of people making good 9mm AR-15 lowers, but nobody's making a 45 ACP like you guys.
Well, it's changed over time. It costs. It's an economy of scale, right? And so you get to the point where to make the best product, it's more expensive to make a 45 lower than a 9mm. You just got to have more mass. There's no other way to put it. Am I wrong? Yeah. I mean, you just need a lot of mass.
No, the magazine, like if you're using Glock, yours is Glock magazine compatible?
Yeah, Glock mag. But we put a huge, like, we always recommend those lowers are perfectly designed for a 45 mag as you were kind of mentioning. But the 45 is a fun one for us, but it's been a journey to get that to be as reliable as it is now. And you just need a lot of mass, which I'm sure everyone understands. But the strip lowers have that great last round bolt hold open that you can really benefit from.
Which is rare in the PCC world. Like, most people are not doing last round bolt hold open. Yeah, and for those of you who don't understand, when you're dealing with a polymer magazine, it's thicker than your steel magazines. So the magwell, you have to have more material around the magwell in order to machine out the the pocket for the magazine in order for that wider polymer magazine to fit in. And that's why they were able to do it with Glock magazines. You cannot convert you cannot get a conversion kit for Glock platform AR-15 magazines for 45 ACP.
Agreed.
They barely fit before you put a conversion block in it.
Yeah. It's nice. We do a little 3D machining under there to give you a nice wide, orifice to put the magazine in. And we're pretty proud of that lower, and we're really proud to offer it so people can build their own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's such fun to do. And I encourage builders.
I like to call it jigsaw puzzles for men.
Yeah, like Legos, but probably less expensive.
Yeah.
I saw the bill for Christmas this year for my kids. Yeah, it's definitely less expensive.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's a less expensive Lego for adults.
Yeah,
think about it. Yeah.
Oh,
we're glad to have you as a partner. You guys have really been a great partner to us, and we're glad to be seeing our stuff on your site.
Well, it's not hard to feature that ranch rifle. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and look, it serves. We want to serve people who don't have access to. Look, man, I'll sell guns to people in New York and Connecticut and Illinois and in California for reasons that you understand, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to change hearts and minds, look, one of the best things for the Second Amendment that ever happened was COVID, because all these more challenging, more densely populated areas saw the benefit of the need to potentially defend themselves and their family should they need to. And if you look at the statistics of the Second Amendment since then, it's gotten better. It's the perception of most people in North America that helped a lot, I think. And so I want to see people in California and Chicago and New York buying firearms. I want to sell them guns, right? We want to support the Second Amendment that way, and they want that support, right? And God forbid, there may come a time where, who knows, look at what happened, a few years ago, right? Who knows what will happen in the next election cycle, right? So we want to, this platform has it can do a lot of things. It's very adaptive. You know what I mean? It can do a lot of things. It can be for a backpacker or a hunter, or it's a legitimate, we're doing 7.62 by 3.9, 300 blackout. You could use that for a hunting rifle. It would work very well for that.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Backpackers, outdoorsmen, preppers, there's a lot of benefits to it. And I think also if you're trying to, teach a family member to shoot, it's probably less scary and less intimidating than an AR, right? There's some benefits there. I know that it's been received well by people that don't shoot. I've got them to shoot by offering it to them to shoot, take them to the range, and it got them into shooting. So I kind of think that was fun. That's, think about it. Most people start with like a 10-22, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's where I started.
Yeah. That's where that's where I started.
Mm-hmm.
It's not scary looking, So anyways, It's just me. I want everyone to have one.
That was actually my next question. Like, how did you get interested in firearms? And did you grow up shooting? Is it something you came to later?
Yeah.
My brother was a long distance shooter, and he had really good eyesight. I used to have really good eyesight, and he would shoot iron sights, and he would do he was in Reading, and he had access to some very long ranges, like really long. And he would go there with an old military rifle with iron sights, and he would just donkey punch everybody with optics. They would have those little things, those things that would push the button to pull the trigger. He was used to be real. His eyesight was very good, and I used to have good eyesight, so I started shooting 10-22s, and I started custom building 10-22s, and then they had this thing called a 17 Mach 2. Which was a 17 caliber in a 22 bullet. It wasn't a 17 HMR. It was the size of a 22, but it had a 17 caliber bullet.
Whoa.
It was a ballistic bullet, and it was it was crazy fast, and it was accurate out to 200 yards. And so for a period of a couple of years, I was just making parts for myself, and I was building 17 Mach 2s, and I was getting half MOA at 200 yards with these guns. And they didn't. Nobody. The round never went anywhere. They were. There were some challenges to using that round. It wasn't the safest round. I'll just say that. Super
Yeah.
fun, super fun. But that was just my thing. I would go and I would go out on the weekends, and I'd be the first person there, and I'd go to the 200-yard range, and because everyone was down on the 50 and the 100-yard range, I just would keep to myself, and I'd shoot the whole day. I'd get there first thing. I'd set up. I'd shoot 6-8 hours, and I'd go home, and I did that for years. I did. It was great.
Wow.
Like it was so, imagine shooting like legitimately 8 hours, two 4-hour shifts, every Saturday, every Sunday you shot every week. I used to do that. It was amazing, not anymore.
Now you'd have to be a gazillionaire to afford to do that.
Well, it was all 22 stuff, and
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was something I could afford. But I used to shot. I was quite a 22 maker back then, and that's really how I got into it. Started building ARs and making parts for friends, and then those guns would get sold, and people would say, "Hey, can you make me that part?" And eventually met the right people.
Right, and then you started at Wilson.
I say, how old are you about this time?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be 60 in June. So,
Sorry, I meant when you were building the 22s and stuff like that. Doing
so that was probably
Sundays out of the range.
30 years ago, maybe.
Okay, so
25, 30 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
You're a little bit older when
ago.
you got into it then.
Yeah. So I had I really got heavily into CNC after 9/11. I really dug into it really deeply. And what I mean by that is more like the SolidWorks and the Mastercam side, the programming. And that was there was a period of time where I was really, I used to run a rapid prototyping team, and I used to get a napkin sketch, 2-3 napkin sketches every morning. And at the end of the day, I'd hand them 3 parts, and we would just take an idea and turn it into something real within 24 hours. It was a very powerful feeling to be able to have.
That's cool.
That.
It's great.
Yeah. So that's really, that wasn't a hard thing to fuel. I would go home and work on gun stuff every night while I was working, full-time job. And then that became my full-time job over time, as I could afford to do it. But that was probably 25 years ago when I was doing it full-time, probably 20 years ago.
Wow.
In terms of manufacturing firearms, stuff like that.
That seems like a great combination, being passionate about firearms and CNC and being able to create anything really.
Yeah. I mean, I think now we really tried to vertically integrate when, because, it was like, this will last forever. All this COVID money we're making is just going to,
I wish.
So, of course we're going to, so no, we did some things right. And, we expanded and stuff. And I realize now I just want to focus on barrels and machining aluminum, and we're going to let the companies that are good at making bolts and carriers make bolts and carriers for us. It's, my core competency is on the lathe side and in making barrels and in machining aluminum. And I want to focus on that.
That's
and
awesome.
We're really, the stuff we're making now is the best we've ever made. I don't know how but look, I always say anyone given enough time can get good at anything. That's a funny thing to say.
Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule. That's takes 10. Like if you put in 10,000 hours at doing something, you'll rise to a certain level. Some rise higher than others, but I don't know if you've heard that before. But
no, I mean what we've done well is we've listened to customers, and we've implemented those customers' feedback into design improvements over time consistently. And I can show those things to you. Maybe on our next podcast, I'll show those things to you. So we can show the incremental improvements, but it always comes at a cost. It cost me more to make the rifle now than it did when I started because of the things that I've added that added cost. But the scale is to the point where I can afford to pay more for the gun. Hard to explain. As volume goes up, I can consume more expenses. So we're just, look, we're just trying to give, when you pick up that gun, you can tell, it tells you a lot about who we are. Like we didn't know each other. You held that ranch rifle. It tells you what's important to us. It feels like a legitimate firearm. It feels well made. It's and I'm proud of that. It's a labor of love. You look, my dad's looking down upon us, and I'm trying to bring pride home to my family. I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this for me. And it's my job to give customers the best possible gun that I can with the resources that I have available to me. And and that gun tells the story. I don't say it other
looks
than
like
that.
something special. And then we'd hold
I mean,
it really is.
It's a great gun for what the price is. It's a lot of gun for the price.
It, absolutely. And I mean, working in the industry, you kind of get a little jaded because you just see new stuff every day, every week. And, you know, you go to SHOT Show and you're just inundated with stuff. And like, there was 3 guns that I left SHOT Show this year saying, like, I actually want those. And yours was one of those 3. The when I came by the booth and you showed me the ranch rifle with the hyperfire trigger in it, I was like, okay, like
What a
this
great
one's
partner
next
they are.
level. Yeah, this one's next level. Woodstock, like
2.5 pound trigger. It's amazing. And
it was so clean.
I've been shooting that since SHOT Show to get some rounds down it, and it's impeccable. Hyperfire is a great partner. I don't know if your viewers know about them, but everybody in competition knows who they are. Really great partner. Really, they. I tried to reach out to them for this funny story. Like, they were busy, everyone's busy, and it's like the week before SHOT Show, and I'm like, please, let's work together, you know. And I love their stuff. And so I sent them a ranch rifle, and then I just let that percolate for a minute, and then the phone rang. Like, hey, we love this thing. We want to help. So, you know, it was great. And then to bring it landed on Wednesday morning at SHOT. The parts came in. We collaborated, and they came up with just an impeccable approach to it. Just impeccable. And we were playing with them. Will you tell me? Did you like it? Did you shoot that thing at SHOT? Did you pull the trigger on it?
I did pull the trigger. I was at the booth. I wasn't at a range day, but that thing, like,
it's great.
It's so crisp. The reset on it, the way that you have your trigger brake, it actually, for those who haven't played with it, it pivots from the bottom of the trigger guard towards the back. And you told me why, because you had to slide the trigger guard forward. You could tell the story better than I can.
So the trigger on it, in order to not have a pistol grip, you have to move the trigger 2 inches rearward, and so your pivot point has to change. So we move the trigger 2 inches rearward. But you're right about that, and so it's more of a traditional shotgun or hunting rifle feel, which, you know, I'd be willing to bet a lot of people who hunt would understand that. Yeah. Perfect.
So for those that are watching on video, the trigger pivots from this spot right here and goes backwards. So it's almost like an inverted trigger. I don't know what you call it, but that actually looks kind of cool with my eye looking through the trigger guard there. But
I get my hand up high on the grip and I pull up on it, and it actually reduces the pull weight. A lot of people will try to pull straight back on the trigger, which is traditional in an AR, and a lot of people have a manual of arms from training that's what they're trained to do, right? But with this gun, I usually get my hand up high and I pull up on it, and it really
it's interesting.
The feel of it. Yeah.
So
it won't matter with a 2.5 pound brake; they can pull it however they want. You know, that trigger just is amazing.
So I want to back up to when you started Foxtrot Mike. Like, what gave you the idea? Like, where were you at the time, and like, what was your first product that you guys brought to market?
So we had a original product was a low receiver that had 2 magazines, one in the pistol grip and one in the magwell. It was ambidextrous. So it was on an AR, the magazine's in the front, and your pistol grip and your index finger kind of operates the forward magwell. But we had designed it where the rear grip, the pistol grip that you held with, also held a Glock mag, and that was 100% ambidextrous and could be operated like a Glock with your thumb. So on a Glock, you drop a mag with your thumb. On an AR, you drop the mag with your index finger. Yeah. So we had worked with a company to develop this mold, and it really dragged on forever. So we ended up coming out with a billet version, with the last round bolt hold open, and that we started with an upper with a forward charging handle. We were in a holding pattern waiting for the lower to get done. We were like, well, we can offer this upper with a forward charging handle, and that was actually pretty well received. This was almost 9 years ago. Nobody had done that, put a charging handle out on the end of the handguard. So that helped,
especially in a PCC. Like nobody was playing in the PCC world hardly.
Yeah,
9 years ago.
Yep, and we had a way to do it. We'd learned a lot of things working. At that point, we designed a lot of PCCs. We probably had a half dozen PCCs. We'd more than that probably on the market that we'd learned from, and we had just a way to approach it that we wanted to do it. And we launched the upper, and the upper did well for us. And then we did a billet lower. PWS at that time had additional capacity, and they had been a partner. We'd collaborated on some things together for Brownells and some other, the BRN 180 and the BRN 110, and we'd done some things together, and we had some history together. So that we started making our billet lowers there, and combining those with our forward charging uppers that we were making for ourselves. And eventually the 180 got to the point where they didn't have capacity to make our lowers anymore. So we had to start making them for ourselves. And so we started another machine shop, a small machine shop, making lowers. And, wow. My core competency is machining aluminum, and, I was pretty good at it. So my partner encouraged me to keep expanding the shop, which we did. And we kept adding equipment, and we were doing uppers and handguards and barrels and all that stuff. And, but yeah, it's been a minute. We right now our shop's about 30,000 square feet. It used to be 6,500. Wow. And we were the largest manufacturer. 6,500 square feet. We're the largest manufacturer in the Pacific Northwest. We consumed more aluminum and steel than anyone in the Pacific Northwest. We consume more anodizing, more QPQ than anyone in the Pacific Northwest. That was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week out of that teeny little shop.
Jeez.
We had to move.
Yeah.
No choice.
Yeah. So how did you end up in Boise?
I was living in Georgia, and Georgia's great. I love Georgia. No offense, Boise. Don't get mad at me. Georgia's wonderful. And my partner encouraged me to move to Idaho so that he could help with the business and be closer to where he resides. And so I had family here, and I've always loved Idaho, and so we moved here, and that we like Idaho a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's worse places to live. Georgia's not bad, though. Georgia is not bad, and highly recommend Georgia.
Well, we're glad you're close to us.
Yeah, you're just up the road. I need to cruise up there.
We should do a facility tour, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, we should. We'll do the next podcast on and facility tour. Like we'll do it on site.
That would be awesome.
I mean, I love Idaho. I own a lot in southeastern Idaho that we're planning to build on, and so I feel the love for Idaho for sure. So.
Well, think about it. All of the land here it belongs to the people. There's not another state that does that. It's all public land. All the land is public land in Idaho. That's one of the main. Well, it's constitutional carry too. I mean, there's 2 reasons to move here.
That's great.
Yeah. And I love the Tetons, so there's a third for me.
Yeah, man. Sawtooth Mountains. I've been all over the world. Sawtooth Mountains, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Beautiful up there. Absolutely.
It is.
Jeez. So from this facility to where you are now, any big bumps in the road or anything like that, or was it just renovation?
No, it was terrifying actually. So this is a memorable story. So okay. Landlord, we needed amperage. We needed 800 amps of 480 to do the expansion we wanted to do, to use the equipment we wanted to buy.
Yeah,
and we found a building, he had a permit, and the permit was to demo it and install the electrical and plumbing and all those things. And I confirmed the permit was started and all those things. We signed a lease and was given the landlord time. And during that time, he sold the building, unbeknownst to us. And then the new landlord says, so we ended up having to do all that work for ourselves. It's kind of a tragic story. So we had a rigger coming to move all of our equipment to the new facility, and we had an electrical panel being shipped to us. And this was like at that time when it was at a time when the business was strong and all that stuff. And we were expecting this electrical panel to get shipped to us. So we had a rigger come. He's like, well, it shows it's shipped. It'll be here in a week. Let's just move the equipment over. So we moved all the equipment over. The rigger came during that week while the electrical panel was being shipped, and he moved all the equipment over to the new place. And then the electrical panel came, we opened it up, and there was no circuit breakers inside.
Oh,
so this is at a time when you just couldn't get electrical panels. It was like peak demand. It was just like you couldn't get them. So my partner drove to the facility and stayed there until they gave them the internals. We just drove cross country there with a box, came back with it filled. And that was how it started. We had to put like we had to finish those things. The second landlord didn't honor the first landlord's requirement to finish the building, and he put it on us. So we had to do all the electrical, all the plumbing, all the sewer, all the internet, all the lighting, all the kitchen, all the bathroom, 100%. Money we hadn't anticipated, just really, really got taken advantage of. Still mad about it, in case you were wondering.
So you can drop names too if you want.
It was a blank building. We had to add all the sheetrock, all the electric. I mean, just imagine trying to wire the copper wire to two 17 machines in a 30,000 square foot shop and run all the conduit and all that stuff. And just like, and then I had to get the electrical lights, but it had to be like, cage free, vegan light bulbs that were made by, eco-friendly, it was, so like the light bulb, it was $250,000 just in light bulbs. Thank you, Boise. You're the best. I'm still mad about you, City of Boise. Remember, I was saying all that good stuff, Boise. City of Boise, they charged me $250,000 for light bulbs.
Jeez. Yeah, move to Eagle.
Yeah. Anyways.
Boise.
So there's that. So that was fun. Got the equipment in, and it just took a minute. It took a minute to get it all going and get it right. And, we went through a lot of pain, and it's we were really blessed to hire the guy that used to run Tesla to run our shop. He used to have 300 machinists. Tim.
Wow.
Amazing. And we also got Keith. Keith came over from Primary Weapon Systems, and he ran the lathe cell and the barrel cell. And he and I have a lot of history collaborating on barrels and such, because we have, when you are a barrel maker or you make barrels, you rely and lean upon other barrel makers because there's so much black magic to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm seeing this. What do you say? What do you think it is? And it's just, the key is, like, it's not hard. The key is just to care more than your competitors. Simple as that. That's how you do it. Anyway, so we got Keith and we got Tim, and they really transformed the shop. Really, really, we're operating at a very, very high level now. And I'm really proud of what we're giving, what we're manufacturing now, and it's really great. I'm really really proud.
So some really talented people that are smart and then also care a lot. Any other secret sauce?
Yeah, there's three things. There's three things you do, and I can tell you how to be successful in business, and it's really hard. Okay. It's care more than your competitors. That's not too hard, surprisingly. Care more about your product. What I mean by that is care more about your product than your competitors do. Care more about your customers than your competitors do. And there are many, many stories written about the extents we go to provide our people customer service, because we are the same as every manufacturer, is we employ humans and we make mistakes from time to time. But what makes us different is what happens afterwards, after a mistake happens. And that's where we really shine. And that's how we've done no marketing, really. And it's all been word of mouth. And it's this philosophy of, if we legitimately did our customer wrong, I want to make it right. Simple as that. I don't know how to say it other than that. And then the third thing is to make sure you treat your vendors and your employers better than your competitors. That's it. Those three things. And that's how you be successful, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I'm doing this because I want to take pride in what I'm doing. I want this to show, what I offer people to see what's important to us, to just tell the product that they get when they buy something of ours will tell them whether we care or not. Yeah. True. Yeah. I mean,
the amount of detail that you put into that ranch rifle, and I've had it in my hands for about a month now, maybe a little bit more. is it's insane. Like you guys, the passion that you have shows in the detail that you put into that, and it's spectacular. But this has been a burning question of mine for a few months now.
Mm-hmm.
And it became even more so when I learned your name was Paul. Where did the name Foxtrot Mike come from?
Well, we had a guy that when we were first testing the PCC, we had a couple guys testing the product, and they really liked it, and they worked for 3-letter agencies, and these guys were paid to do T&E. And we were working on the last round bolt hold open and the forward charging handle, and they were shooting guns, and we spent the weekend with them, and the guy said, this is FM to his buddy, and I'm like, what's that mean? And he goes, well, if it's something we like and we think it's cool and we can't describe it, we say it's FM. I'm like, well, what does it mean? And he goes, what's that mean? He goes, well, it's a military acronym for magic.
Okay.
So that's where sorry to swear. Is it okay to swear on a podcast?
Oh, you're the first guest, so we haven't established rules yet. So
okay, good. Okay, well, so anyways, hopefully it's not going to be on anything kids can see. I apologize. I'm Irish and I swear a lot.
Well, Trent, the producer guy over here, we'll just we'll bleep that one out. So
we'll just say
it's fine.
No.
We'll just censor it. We'll censor it in post. We'll take care of it in post.
Okay,
Trent,
good.
when I say Trent will take care of it in post.
Well,
he's giving us a thumbs up. So we're
so that's why we have Mike logo above your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we have the top hat, and I thought that was a great acronym.
I love that story.
I mean, listen, very few people know that story because they don't ask for that, but that's a true story.
I've been wanting to ask for about when did we pick you guys up? 6 months ago, something.
Well, they're magic products, man. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than that.
Simple.
We want to do different. There's enough vanilla for everybody out there.
Wow. So, another question that I have is, people keep talking about that America doesn't manufacture anything anymore. And if you're familiar with the firearms industry, that's absolutely not true.
100%.
And you are part of that. So, but it is becoming, I don't want to say a lost art, but a hidden art, of doing this. So if somebody's interested in machining, how would you recommend that they get into it? What paths would you recommend that they take? Because it isn't something that our school systems are teaching. And and this is kind of top of mind right now because I took a youth group for our church to a machine shop last night, and these 11 to 18-year-old boys, their minds were blown. They'd never seen anything like it. It was plastic injection molding. And one of the kids was like, I want to come work here. And how would you there's this big push to bring America back, manufacturing back. And, I'm a huge fan of Origin, and they're doing that on the textile side. But how would you recommend somebody get into this?
Well, I think that's a great point. I mean, I think the problem is that no one's getting into this industry. And so what it's causing is a real high demand for automation, because finding people that want to do this is hard. But what I can say is this, most programs you can do a program that will teach you to become a CNC operator in approximately 6 months. And you can go out into the world without a bunch of burden in debt and make, $20, $25 an hour to start with really good benefits. And if you were somebody who were switched on, and what I mean by that is if you're paying attention and you take direction well, you'll do well for yourself in this industry, and you'll grow like most of my a guy who's switched on and he's gone through a training program and is open to taking direction, he'll advance very quickly because there's just not a lot of people in this industry. So what it does is people who really want it, they advance very quickly, much more so than any other industry. A guy can start off making, get out of school, a 6 months program, make $20 an hour. In 6 months, make $25 an hour. In a year, make $30 an hour. And if he does it for 5 years and works some overtime, it's totally achievable to make $100,000 or more. So what's different about this industry is you get from it what you put into it. And so I would go home and I would grind. I would learn programming. I would learn modeling. Because I wanted to be given that opportunity. I wanted to bring pride home to my family, and I enjoyed it. Like, this stuff was cool. Like, how everyone's taking CAD models and printing things. It's the same type of thing, but instead of printing it, you're using a machine to produce it. It's the same kind of inspiration. It's that feeling of giving birth to something. It's exciting. It's fun. And if that's something that's, if being able to realize something in your mind that you can imagine and make it real is intriguing, then this is the industry for you. And it's going to come at the cost of having to learn a little simple math and G code, which anyone can learn. It's relatively straightforward and simple. But listen, I wasn't the smartest kid in class, but I worked harder than most. And so I advanced. There was kids there that literally would go to school with me and they wouldn't study and they would take the test and get straight A's just because they could, people like that. I'm not, I got to work at it.
They don't care, but they're smart.
I worked at it though. So if you're a guy who's driven, you'll go really, really far quickly. And if you're a guy who wants to work 40 hours a week, you'll do well too, because there's just not a lot of people. They need that guy. They need a reliable guy who comes in and wants to do good work for that company. They'll grow and make, it's a great field to get into, and the benefits are excellent. That's a great point. I wish I could inspire more people to do it. We do have a great facility out here, College of Western Idaho. They do good work and they bring great candidates together, and we're very proud of the work they do to support us by providing training. And I'm sure where you live, hopefully they have one too, something like that, where they teach this type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just recently gotten exposed to this.
But that would be a good place to start, is pointing people to those colleges that teach it still. Yeah.
Do you think it's easier than ever for people to get into that with 3D printing and those CAD designs they can access on the computer?
Well, I think it's a different world now. I think people can go out into the world and watch YouTube channels and videos and learn on their own organically over time. It's different. I needed to go to a school, but I'm 60. I mean, it's just how it was back then. So, but I mean, I think what a great suggestion, man, especially, if a guy can, focus on it for a couple of years, he can do very well for himself and not come away with a bunch of debt, Look, I don't know how many college degrees you can get that within 5 years you can be making $100,000 pretty easily.
I wasn't. That's for sure.
I don't know any of those, but I mean, you don't even. You just need to be switched on and care.
Yeah. Well, the point you made, I'm going to put this in perspective. You could go for 6 months, get your certificate or degree or whatever it is, start working, and you're making $100,000 by the time your contemporary, like your peers, are just stopping to wake up hungover at frat parties.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
they haven't even entered the job market yet, and you're pulling in, 6 figures.
And it's not that hard to do. And the thing is, all this stuff like SolidWorks and Mastercam, you can there's all kinds of online schools and training. Like, anyone who wants to learn it can learn it. It's just not that hard, and there's so many different resources. But I mean, but yeah, what a great suggestion, man. Yeah, that's a great thing to bring up. We could use more. We could use more people wanting to get into manufacturing, for sure.
Yeah, always.
So, just kind of wrapping up here, we don't want to take too much of your time. Was there a breakout product that really, you talked about the first product, we've talked about the ranch rifle, but is there a breakout product that really helped put your company on the map?
We've been very successful with our PCC. If you look at in competition in the nationals and the world championships, we've always done very well for ourselves. And that's historically as compared to other brands. And I think that's something we're very proud of, that we provided that to these people without, we provided a good enough quality product to them that they could go out and be competitive and win these championships with our platforms. We're very proud of that. I think that helped a lot. And I think I think blue collar people really appreciated us offering the bufferless upper with an integrated pick rail adapter so that they could take their existing M4 and make a bufferless firearm. That I think they really responded. They picked up what we were throwing down, is that we were trying to serve blue collar people, and these things are sub $600, and all of a sudden you have all these options and modularity and folding stocks and
shooting,
all that stuff, shooting from the folding position. So I'd say those two things. I think it took a while for the market to catch up to us. We've been doing this for 3.5 years. We've had these market uppers on the market for 3.5 years successfully. We've got tens of thousands of them on the market, and we've done well with them. And I just think it took a market. Now it seems people are the last 6 months or a year, maybe the market's changing, or maybe the market caught up. Now we're seeing a lot more demand for the stuff that we hadn't seen previously on the same platform that's been on the market for 3.5 years. So that's a difficult thing to answer, really. I'd say those two things. The ranch rifle was a huge success for us, but time will tell if it has legs. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think there's things like retro rifles where you can reach a saturation point in the market. You know what I mean? Retro rifles were popular for a while, and I think the market reached saturation. Hard to say. I can say right now, I think it will. I see no reason why this market shouldn't grow for a long time, because I think hunters and backpackers and I'm getting a lot of exposure in the tactical market for the ranch rifle, but I think there's this whole other side of the world that hasn't seen it yet, which is the hunting market. And we're excited about getting that platform catered for the hunter and making a hunter rifle. I think that's going to take time to mature too. For hunters to become familiar and comfortable with this new product, that's going to take us time. And that's a journey we want to go on with them.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you're not marketing a lot. And so I think it just takes time when it's a really great product, and people will know that it's good just by holding it, by seeing their friends hold it. So it's growing, and I don't think it'll stop.
Yeah, I think when we, in about 4 weeks, we hope to be shipping on the Global Ordnance monolith with the one-piece barrel, and that's a very compelling, exciting product. But it's not something I want to. We haven't done it yet, But if we talked in 3 months and you asked me that same question, I would probably say the monolith rifle would be what we're very, very proud of that. But let's get it to market first. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Something personally is we do these giveaways every month. We're doing a different one every month, and we always try to do something like really cool that people would want to enter and stuff like that. Or like just out of the blue, and I'm not promoting this on my personal social media and stuff like that. I've had multiple friends reach out to me that I haven't heard from in a while, but they've reached out to me tell me about this ranch rifle. This thing's awesome. I want to get one of those. And it's how much do those cost? Do you guys sell them? And they're just asking all the questions. And it's that never happens. So, exactly. And we do cool stuff all the time. And so
we appreciate working with you. You guys are really good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Again, remember how I'm bad at marketing? You guys are really good at it. This is really good for me. You know what I mean? And we want to do more of these with you too. So
done.
Maybe a PCC with a Hyperfire trigger. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
We should do that.
We'll be reaching back out for sure.
With a Swamp Fox optic or something like that on it, right?
Yeah. Man, I can't think of a better place to end than on that note. Yeah. Unless you have something else you want to share with us, Paul, like that.
No, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on your first show, and I appreciate you dusting off my cobwebs. I'll get good at this sometime.
It's all right, man. You did great. You're an interesting storyteller, so it worked perfect.
We're excited.
We appreciate you getting eyes on our brand, and you guys are a great partner, and we love working with you. Let us know anything you need from us. We're all about it.
Hey, thank you. How can people find you guys? I mean, for those that are tuning in while the giveaway's still going, link down in the giveaway has all of Foxtrot Mike's contact, stuff to follow. But for those, if they catch this after, how can they follow you?
So our Instagram page, we found the largest name in the world, which is Foxtrot Mike Products. And And our website is fm-products.com, and you'll find a link to our store in there, retail store, and all that stuff. But the Instagram page is where you'll see a lot of our content, and that's kind of where most people go to kind of get eyes on what we're doing and what the future projects are. So I encourage you to check out our Instagram page for sure. But also Delta Team Tactical, that's a great place to find our product too. People should go there. They should sign up for that email list.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Because you guys are
definitely. And thank you for the shameless plug there. So much appreciated. Thank you for being our first guest. Thank you guys for listening. Like, this is awesome. Patrick and I will get better at doing this. His voice is starting to come back. So
slowly.
It's getting there. He doesn't normally sound like this, but thank you for checking out the PowderBurn podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Thanks, Paul.